All right, guys, this presentation will be in English. So if any of you are only Danish speakers, it'll be pretty hard to follow. If you're German speakers, I'm told Charlotte can do it in German as well. So if you want to hear all the presentation in German, please raise your hands. If there's a 50% vote, then we'll, no.
Please raise it now.
Then now, yeah. So unfortunately, we had some last minute cancellations from Natuvion. So today, Charlotte will be taking the reins. And she's here in a last minute call. They got COVID, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
last week on the transformation
So
now.
the full team got COVID. So Charlotte is here jumping in at the last minute. And Charlotte is a project manager from Natuvion helping non-SAP and SAP transformation projects. So she has knowledge of the project, but not of the presentation. So if there's a bit of shuffling between the slides, don't worry. So please, Charlotte.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. So hello everyone and welcome to my today's presentation about the experiences from Transformation Project. As already mentioned, my name is Charlotte Reynaud. I'm a project manager for Natuvion with focus on transformation projects. For those of you who don't know Natuvion yet, we describe ourselves as a digital moving company. So our daily business is more or less to extract data from their systems and then to migrate them and transfer them to move them to their new digital homes. With more than 300 employees, we provide simple and complex migration scenarios all over the globe. And since last year, we are happy to be part of the family of entity data. And there we act as a center of competence for system migrations. Together with entity data, we did a transformation study this year where we asked more than 600 divisions and top managers or CEOs in over 9 countries about their experiences during their transformation project. We raised, I think, 37 questions, but due to the time today, we picked out a few of them. But if you're interested in the full study, in the full study, you can scan the QR code here and download the full transformation study. Or I'm happy to provide you the link after the presentation. So first of all, when we asked the companies, have you achieved your transformation goals? You can see that the good news is that over 60% achieved their goals. But there was also a part with 37% which only achieved their goals partly or not at all. So to avoid this kind of problems, we want to show you how to best prepare for a transformation. And also, which is a really important question you have to ask yourself before starting a transformation, is which kind of scenario suits you best and how to avoid any business interruptions during your transformation process. In the end, we go through the typical transformation pitfalls you have to avoid if you want to have a successful transformation. And of course, the question and answer in the last 5 to 10 minutes, but please keep in mind, I'm not the expert today. So, how to best prepare for a transformation? We asked the companies, what challenges and difficulties surprised you during your transformation process? And the most important word here is what was surprising. So when we asked them, we can see here that missing of know-how in their teams and also the data quality problem has a big impact in their transformation process. Which also confirmed by the results from our next questions, where we can see which technical activities were the greatest importance in your transformation process. So we can see here also that they mentioned the data quality check and also the inventory and the analysis of your existing data, which I'm surely you know the saying, garbage in, garbage out, and that totally hit the spot here. So if you have bad quality in the beginning, you will have really big problems during your transformation. So keep that in mind. If you prepare your transformation process, you have to be aware of the problems you already have in your target system, in your source system. To get your system known better, or as much as you can, before you start the transformation process, we provide from Natuvion with the Natuvion Sophia, an analysis tool with over 500 specific analysis to really get you to know your system really well. So are there any duplicates? Is there a mess? Or do you have lags in your data quality? And to the next question, which is also really interesting, was what was underestimated during your transformation process. So we asked them, what would you do differently today if you start all over again? And you can see to the answers here that more resources and a schedule of more time has a big impact here. And that leads me to our 3 key factors, which are really, really important to keep in mind when you start planning your transformation. So your team with your competence and resources is one of the key factors. They have to be prepared of the upcoming challenges. And also, as already mentioned, you have to know your data, you have to know your source system. So do the analysis, do your homework, get to know your system well, and then you can start. And as a project manager, I can totally understand the last point here. The plan and the plan of the resources and also the timetable has to be realistic. Yes?
Just to clarify the issue of your presentation,
Yes.
Transformation, is that understood solely as moving data from one place to another?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So in this case, we can take like from ECC to S4HANA as a typical example for a transformation project here. Yes? Okay. You're going to leave? Okay, that's fine. Okay. So as a project manager, I totally understand the last key success factor here. So plan your resources and timetable realistic, because even though if you have known if you make any analysis, there will be surprises during your transformation process. You can't avoid them. But if you have a realistic timetable in front, you will have a better handling during your transformation process to work it out then. So this is one of a really important question you have to ask yourself. We ask the companies which kind of migration scenario they used. And as you can see, so there is, of course, the greenfield migration, the brownfield migration, and we have the selective data migration here. And with the biggest part, you can see a trend that more and more companies are using the selective data migration. And that's also due to the fact that if you can reduce your target system in the end, it had a direct impact to your cost reduction. And that's an advantage, I think, everyone has in a company to reduce your costs. So, to the transformation without business interruptions. During a transformation, of course, during the go-live, you have to shut down your system, and that can have a really big impact. So we ask them, what is the maximum business disruption you can experience during your transformation without seriously impact your business? And as you can see here, really clearly, over 70% has a maximum of 1 day for downtime. And therefore, also selective data migration took in place, or special tools like our Natuvion DCS, with which we can reduce the downtime to 4 hours if it's required, so that you have no really serious impact to your business during your transformation. So, coming to our last questions from the study today. So, what are the typical transformation pitfalls? I think after the slides we already talked about, it's not a big surprise that a lot of answers were that develop of competence, and also to keep in mind that you have during your normal business, of course, you have ongoing projects there. You have ongoing project. So that leads me to what I also mentioned, the realistic timetable. So if you have to keep in mind that doing a transformation, you have to build up a team with really good competences, and also a team which has time to make the whole transformation process. And due to the situation right now we have with the whole pressure for the S/4HANA migration, it's not easy to find suitable consultants. So we're coming to our last question from the transformation study. And this is what the companies say, which was the success factor in the transformation. And also that it's kindly what I already mentioned here. The transparency about the data inventory and the deep knowledge of your business processes, as well as the deep knowledge of your used system, is the key factor here. So resources and knowledge of your system. I'm so sorry, but it's just not gonna help. So, okay, so if you need more input here, I'm happy to answer your questions afterwards, and we also provide some white papers or roadbooks for housekeeping, so to clean up your system, and more information for a typical transformation, and of course our transformation study with all the questions. All right, I'm happy to try to answer your questions.
Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you for stepping in with such short notice. Do any of you have any questions for Charlotte's presentation?
I'm also happy to receive them afterwards and hand it over to our experts, of course.
That's great. So, yeah, I'll just come with the microphone for the online listeners.
Which recommendations can you give in terms of facilitating like project plans, deliverables, like from a tooling perspective? Which tools have you made good use of in your projects?
Okay, so from a perspective from a project manager, we have the methodology from SAP, so the Discover and as a whole Activate methodology we use always, and of course there are a lot of different tools. So we from Natuvion working mostly for selective data migration, and therefore we have the analysis tool, and also to find out a way with our DCS to extract the data, and then to, or is it your question right now? I'm kind of okay. Yeah, from a PM perspective, I think it's really important to have a big team here. Also to have the experts, because for me as a project manager, it's really necessary to work close with a company to get know each other, also to have a lot of on-site meetings, and then to build up a new team for the project, because you have so many things you can't discover in the beginning, and then by using the preparation of the activity methodology, you have like a good road to follow.
Just one last question. So do you also use tools like Cloud ALM, or do you use Microsoft 365, or do you use other tools to help run the projects?
Well, Yeah, so of course a lot of Microsoft a lot of Microsoft Office tools, just also to make it easier to the customer to explain some things and the whole documentation. We also use most of the time for big projects Confluence and Jira. It's a little bit tricky with transformation project, because you normally have this hard deadline in the end where the go live should happen. So it's not that agile you want to have with Jira, but for the whole communication between the teams and to build up, because there will be always new ticketings and new tasks to solve. So Jira is one of my favorite tool here to work with.
Thank you. Any more questions? No. Charlotte, you touched upon, I think the main points I got was that timing is important. So how you time the project, planning for resources, and planning for competencies, which is also kind of a timing issue. Do you have an example where it went, what can companies do to alleviate some of these problems? I think it was like 52% said that they lacked a realistic timetable.
Yes, I think, which is really important and leads me also to the whole preparation phase. It's take your time before you have a hard deadline in the end and plan your go live. Don't plan it from the end until to the beginning. Start really with the preparation phase. Make your analysis, make your homework, try to understand which kind of challenges you will have during your project, and then be honest to yourself. And because of course you don't want to spend so much money, but the money you try to don't spend in the beginning, you will spend it if you have some big surprises in the end. So yeah, better be sure than sorry in the end.
Thank you. So I think anybody here have ever seen a project not go over time, or I think that's difficult, right? Because you need to get to some business goals in a time frame.
Exactly. So from my experience, we have always like a little delay here and there during the test migrations, because it's a really long run. No transformation is built up like from today to tomorrow. So you have to take your time and plan some buffers into your timing then.
Yeah, one question, yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on this Sophia tool? What are you analyzing? And I assume that it's only SAP data you're analyzing.
No, we can also, so with the Sophia tool, we can also go to other systems and also to cloud systems. But on an SAP base, we have the possibility, like if you have a lot of duplicates in your system, you can find them and also harmonize them and make like a duplicate analysis and then clean that data first, because also for the whole, I think, business partner consolidation, it's really necessary to first see what you have, and with a tool you can go on the table level in your system and find every single issue you have there.
Yeah, one question in front.
How do you do that? Do you import the data from your existing system into and do analysis on behalf of the existing system data you have?
Okay, I will try my best to explain from my side. So we can import our programs to the SAP system, and then we are working with the system from SAP, and we are not downloading the data and then make the analysis. We are doing that in the SAP system right away. And with Sophia, we have also the possibility to connect it with our cloud, so you can have like a real-time seeing of your data and what you also change in your data. So if you clean up something with the Sophia tool in your SAP system right away, or like in the sandbox, you can see it on the cloud system on a really nice dashboard. How do you maybe clean up your chart of accounts or something like that?
Thank you. Yeah.
From the research that you have made and the answers that you're getting in the research, it says that there's not enough resources, there's not enough time, and you have to prepare really, really well. And I mean, when you work with projects, that's a common theme. You always come in too late, there's never enough resources, and it's also always creating some kind of overload on the deadline. But how are you working with that? Now when you've done the research, well, how are you preparing to start up very, very early, find the right resources at the right time, get the knowledge that you need for the analysis, and then start planning the project? What are you doing to overcome these resistance barriers?
So to be honest, we have always really hard discussions with the customer, because they're coming to us and they have this goal or this deadline in their head, and it's really hard to convince them that you have to be more realistic here and to have to really look at what is coming up. And for the resources, so I really can't solve this. We try our best, of course, but I think this is an issue we have all to work with right now, because of the pressure we have with 2027 for SAP and the whole this kind of deadline. We have really the issue also to find the best resources here. Yeah. But of course, just to add, of course, one thing is, before you start or while do you prepare your transformation, you need also time in this preparation time for your team in the company to build up your competences here, to understand what is coming up, and maybe also to get new employees to support during the time.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm working for NTT, and we always try to prepare an analyze phase before a project. So we have that analyze phase to say, okay, what kind of resources do we have? When are they ready? Can we do it in time frame? Then analyze on the client solutions, so client systems for the proposed project, and then we can sort of look the client in the eye again, say, okay, maybe we find it was harder, easier, it takes a longer time, but then we see eye to eye once more. So we sort of have a start and then a stop go, and then we go. So we budget more time for, getting our house in order, basically, and having the client, provide resources for workshops to get their house in order as well. Because if we do not do that, if you say, yeah, we can do whatever transformation project or migration, then we find out the client system is not what they said, it's not what, and then the project goes to south really, really fast. Any more questions? We're coming up on time in 2 minutes. Last question.
I really would like to see the consultant house that would say to the customer, we're not going to do this job if we don't have enough time to do this analysis, and we can discuss whether there's a resource allocation or not problem. I would really love to see that consultancy doing that.
Fair point.
Fair point. I've done it once or twice before. Believe me, I said to a client, you haven't allocated resources. We can get a meeting with you in the analyze phase, and the client just saying go, go, go. We said we can't implement the solution. If you find your resources, we can do it. If you give us time, we can do it. I've done it twice in my time. We said to the client a hard no to implement the project. But that's, you don't get any points from the CEO for doing that. Or the sales team, right? So, but yeah. Last question, or we will end a minute early. Thank you very much to Charlotte. Give her a big round of applause.
Thank you so much.